Hey, WheelSnipeSelly here. Welcome back. It is Tuesday, June 27th, 2023. We're looking at the September contract on ES, so ESU 2023. And you can see on the left here, so our daily candle, this big green candle here. So we basically filled in this weekly, daily fair value gap. Let me flip to the weekly. So you can see this is the weekly fair value gap coupled with the daily. So we basically filled that in yesterday, and then we kind of just traded down a little bit. We didn't even take out yesterday's low, and then we just kind of ripped up higher. So let's expand this up. So looking at this, let's go to the regular trade hour. So starting out of the day, let me just hide everything right now. So starting at the day, we had our opening range gap here, and right at 10:10 we filled that basically to the tick, and then we had this 5-minute fair value gap here. So I had noted this high here, so Monday's high. I also had this high noted. Let me bring back the. So we had buy side limited here. We had the daily wick. I had the consequent encroachment there. I did have this buy side noted here. And so right when we opened and we came down, so I was targeting to fill this, and I actually targeted a little bit lower than that. So let's just turn back on electronic trading hours and let's go down to 1 minute. Let's just dive right into the trades here. So ICT posted, he basically took the silver bullet trade, which that was kind of similar to what I took, but I entered on this breaker instead. So I entered after which we didn't really close the candle below this, but I had my order placed and I was already tagged in. And then I had my stop at the top of the breaker and it tagged me out, and then ran to the direction I was anticipating, which was filling this M5 gap. One thing that I basically lessons learned here is if you have the opening range gap, unless you're like 100% confident that you're going to fill it, it's good to take a profit basically at this, take profit 1, you could have take profit 2 at the opening of this M5, and then just like a tick below. So like this would have been ideal here if I took some partials and had this and I wasn't stopped out. But I did take a live trade, so I'll kind of show that at the end when we do the trade log. I just have a couple screenshots there. I don't really want to talk about them in here. And then once we went up and we tagged in the new week opening gap, I was just looking for a quick scalp back down to take out these relative equal lows, and this is going to be discount for us. So if we're looking here, we have our, let me change this to our price grades. So here is 50%. And then what's the first PD array? We have these swing lows with this M5. So I took it right at consequent encroachment of this M5 fair value gap. So had a loss here and then one here. So I was basically a little bit over break even. And then I'll show a screenshot here, which let me just delete this off. Once we rejected from this M5 fair value gap and we pushed up, we had a break in market structure here. And let me just delete these off since we're done talking about this. I had a really good feeling that we were going higher. So I entered on my live account with just a micro on this fair value gap right here with a stop below this breaker's low. So we also have a breaker here. Note this. So this would have also been an acceptable trade. I just didn't want to take in my Topstep account. I basically got to break even for the day, or I was maybe like $20 over. So I just wanted to end it there. I didn't really want to go back-to-back trades after that. So, but this was I didn't think we were going to come down here. We were going to leave this as a breakaway gap, and we didn't come back down in here. So this entry, this is where I entered with a stop below here, and I think I took profit like right at this consequent encroachment of the wick. Like I said, I'll show it in the screenshot. So then we basically ripped all afternoon. So let me go back to the 5-minute. I didn't participate in any of this. I didn't. I had taken a little chunk here, and I was basically waiting for the reversal to take a short. So let me go back to the regular trading hours. So I had this Friday opening range gap noted here, and then I had the buy side from the 4 o'clock hour on Thursday. I also had noted the daily. This is the daily imbalance, the daily volume imbalance. Let me pull up the daily real quick. You can see here we have our daily volume imbalance here, and then our daily. I didn't think we were going to come up here, but I had it noted anyways. Maybe put that back. So these were the levels that I was looking at. I had this noted, and I had price grades here, seeing if we were going to reject at the consequent encroachment. Once we filled this here, there was a pretty good chance we were going to go and fill this in. We were so extended, like I didn't want to just enter in. I think that's one of the things I need to work on, is trying to find a quick entry. I just was going to wait and then take the short back into 20 to 30% of the range. Let's go back to the electronic trading, and I'll show you these other ones. So let's do the 15-minute. So I had this buy side noted here. This was from the Friday London session high. I did have this fair value gap noted here for a while, and then I just kind of took it off. But I did have that noted. And then I have this swing high here. So that's where the 44.27 came in from. But I didn't think we were going to go, like I honestly thought we were going to push through this faster. Once we kind of stalled out right around, what was it? 315. I didn't really think we were going to continue higher. So then I was starting to look for scalps lower. So if you look here, I had basically this swing high, swing low. This is our 50%. We're right in a fair value gap, and I sold basically right at the entrance of it. And then this is the 20 to 30% of the daily range, which we did tap into it like right past 4. If I bring back, if I do the daily range here, it was basically in between. This is 20% at 44.14, and then 30% was 44.08. So I was at least expecting to come down into here, which is a little bit lower than the 50% of this price leg here. So anyways, let's go down and look at the last 2 trades. So the first trade, it was a bad trade. I didn't really follow my rules. I felt like I was going to miss it. So I entered in prematurely. I just entered in on this fair value gap on the 1 minute, and we didn't really close below the breaker, which that is one of my rules. So I basically had my stop right above. I had this 1 minute fair value gap noted, and so my stop was like 1 tick above it, like right here. So that took me out. I was looking for it to run this once more, maybe hit this 44.2550 and then come back down, but it stopped just 2 ticks over what I had. But anyways, so I got stopped out. Once I was down on the 15-second for the last trade. So let's see. Okay. So down on the 15-second for the last trade. And this is the 15-second fair value gap here. And we basically created another fair value gap basically at consequent encroachment. And once we came up and we tapped this, I was looking for a short. So we do have, well, we don't have a really clean breaker here, but we do right here. So this is the 15-second breaker that I have outlined. And basically once this candle closed, I entered right at the, basically right here. Which, yeah, this is a 15-second. So I had my stop above, right at the above of the breaker, and I was targeting 5.5. So right into that fair value gap and a little bit before the 20 to 30%. So my exit was right here. So that was it was on that nice last candle, and then, like I said, 4:15ish, it does come down to the 20 to 30%, and then now we're just kind of fading lower. But yeah, so took 4 trades today, a little bit more than what I normally do. I think I'm going to try to start pushing a little bit more to try and get some movement on this challenge. But let's go into the trade reviews. All right, so here we are, 950. So we're in between the 950 and the 1010 macro, and I have this breaker noted, and I'm noting this fair value gap here, which also happens to be the silver bullet. I'm on the 15-second. So this was an entry here that I took on my live account, right at that breaker entrance. But I was kind of waiting. We kind of pushed up, and then we kind of just chopped around for a little bit. So I kind of hesitated to take this into my Topstep account. So here I am framing the breaker. I entered early, but that candle didn't close, and then so I was basically tagged out right there. So this does end up going down and delivering, but I would have missed my actual profit target. You can see the opening range gap was at the 43.74, and you can see I'm trying to have another entry here if it comes back up into the breaker and tags me in, but it doesn't come back up. So this trade is basically done. We'll let it comes down and taps it twice, and then once we start heading up higher. So here we are. It is 11:04, so we're in between the 1050 and 1110 macro, and I'm getting my measurement here. I see we can go down into discount where that M5 fair value gap is. We have a breaker with a fair value gap, and I'm entering on this, so we're tagged in. Super tight stop on this, 1 3/4 handle. I am showing that there was a fair value gap there. So this came within basically 1 tick of tapping me out, so I thought that was pretty cool. And then we start to get some movement lower here. I'm just looking at the 2-minute. And then so we had a little breaker above, but I wanted to take the one that was lower. So we have our little stop hunts there. And like I said, this is a quick 4 3/4 move that I'm looking for. So it's a 2.71 risk to reward, and just looking to get the consequent encroachment of that M5. So, and then we're tagged out. And then from there it has a nice reaction and just rips the rest of the day. So this was like that low that I sold at. So here we are at the, it's 320. And so we're within the 315 to 345 macro. I have a potential breaker here noted. But like I said, I end up breaking my rules on this one. So we do take buy side. And then we had some nice displacement lower, but it wasn't enough. We didn't close below that low. So this is my own fault for taking this one. I was kind of jumpy. I didn't want to miss the move. We were getting towards the end of the macro, but we had a little bit of a late delivery macro today. So you can see I got tagged out on that one, and I'm still kind of watching, noting that fair value gap here. Basically just looking for an entry. Once I saw that and we closed below the low of the breaker, I put in my entry. We're on the 15-second time frame. I had that breaker noted. We entered. My stop is 2 handles, and looking for 5.5, so 2.75 risk to reward. Been really kind of working on that. I think it's been helping. And just noting, we have a bunch of sell side here. You see I kind of zoomed out a little bit. We have a bunch of sell side looking to go down to 50%. And that little blue box right there, or the little green box, is the 20 to 30% of the daily range that we retraced, which ICT teaches that. So, and then we'll just let this play out here for the next few seconds. That I just want to show that it does deliver down into that 20 to 30% range. And in the next 5-10 seconds, it'll hit it. So, and that's what I sent a tweet out on Twitter that this was basically the trade that I was looking for, and was able to actually take the trade and cover that first loss. And so I think for the day it was like $175 for the day, or 170-ish. Okay, so here we are, Topstep Dashboard. We're at 628.10 out of the 3,000. So we're up 169.18 for the day. And then we have the 4 trades. 4 trades here. So let's go to the trade log. So here are the 4 entries. We had an entry at 10:02, 11:06, 15:43, 15:50. These are all within the macro times. And the first trade minus 192.08, and then plus 220.42, minus 129, then plus 270.42. I had the second to last trade was a terrible. I think that was a bad trade. I have that rated as a C. But these are the entries here. So, and then let's go to the calendar. So for today, we were minus 117.08 yesterday. So we're basically a little bit over break even, maybe plus $50 for the week. So here's the first trade, original screenshot. Took this breaker. We have the silver bullet right there, and this was the better breaker to take. Once it tapped here, it could have the stop above there with a reasonable profit target within the opening range gap. So that's definitely a lesson learned. This was a good learning experience on that one. Trade 2, this was the quick short that we took between the 10:50 and 11:10 macro, just to go into a little bit, just to dip into the discount. So this is a nice little breaker. I couldn't resist on taking that one. Trade 3, this was the bad trade where I didn't follow my rules. I rushed into this one. I didn't want to miss the move. So this was a stop out there. And then this was the 15-second re-entry trade on this breaker. So breaker here, low, high, and we closed below it. Sell stops taken. We rebalanced this fair value gap, and then that sent us lower. to all of the sell side that we were waiting to take, that we hadn't taken basically the entirety of the day. And then I said I was going to show my 2 amp live trades here. So I entered right on this breaker, held through this. If we would have closed halfway above this breaker, I probably would have cut it. My original TP was right here at 43.74, and then I end up trailing my stop to this swing high. If we basically broke this, we were going higher. So I got out of that trade with I think $25 for the 1 micro, which, okay, and here's the last trade. This was the trade that I took right after I took the breaker short to the basically discount, and then this is the low where it just basically ripped the rest of the day. This was a nice 2.1 risk to reward trade here. I entered, so we have our breaker here, high, low, higher, high. I didn't think we were going to come back down into here. We had this little, I was thinking that this was going to be a breakaway gap, and then we kind of pushed up. So we had a break in market structure here, and I just entered it on this fair value gap. It was a little bit above the breaker, and then I just put my stop loss below this small fair value gaps low. That's just kind of where I put it, and then we had a nice reaction. But yeah, I know I'm not upset that I didn't leave a runner on or anything. I got my pound of flesh and got out, so definitely happy with that. I think that was like a $32 trade. But what I've noticed is in my live account, if I'll take like a trade with like a standard ES contract, I think I get a little bit too confident. So the following day, I'll just drop down to micros, so that if I do take a loss, like it'll just be like $20-$30. So yeah, I think that's kind of been helping me. I don't know if anyone else is trading live, but if I have a winning day, I'll trade the next day. If there's a setup, I'll just go down to micros, just because I feel like I get too confident sometimes and just push the button. So anyways, let's go over to the economic calendar. Tomorrow we have International Trade in Goods, 8:30. We have Powell speaking at 9:30. So we'll kind of see. Maybe tomorrow seems like it might be an afternoon session only. So we will stay tuned. But appreciate you guys watching, and we'll check back in the next time we take a trade.